I'm Ben Brooks with Marsh, and today we're going to talk about Marsh U. Marsh U is our collaboration platform that connects our colleagues in over 400 offices in nearly 100 countries. That's 25,000 people. Connects them together in a more powerful way to deliver better service to our clients. If you understand the history of Marsh U, back in 2009, Marsh had done a colleague engagement survey similar to what many companies do. And the factor analysis showed the number one most highly correlated driver of colleague engagement at Marsh, the thing that was responsible for the greatest variation in engagement, was career development. And our performance on career development wasn't that great. So we knew that was a big opportunity. So our executive leadership had gotten together in the fall of 2009 at a strategy summit and really wanted to declare a new future for the whole company. And under the banner of making Marsh a great place to work for outstanding people, our leadership team also made the commitment to create a Marsh University. Now, we didn't really know what that meant or what that was going to be, and we had fairly scarce resources, but we needed to bring something to colleagues to have them really see that management was committed to making this a great place to work and addressing their career development needs. As a result, we looked at a lot of research about how adults learn and how they develop. We found that upwards of 70% of adult development doesn't happen in a classroom or a textbook. It really happens informally, socially, and on the job. And as we thought about a lot of our collective career experiences, we realized that was the same for a lot of us as well. So we really wanted to take advantage of that. And when we thought about Marsh and our kind of hidden assets strategically, a lot of strategy books talk about hidden assets. A lot of our hidden assets were frankly in our people, in their brains and on their hard drives. If you think of a city like London, you have the London or Tower Bridge, and a fog might be over the top of that bridge, and all you see is the tops. You don't realize there's a world-class city, London, below. Well, sometimes we forget about our world-class colleagues and the passion, experience, wisdom, expertise, network connections, tools, and resources that they have and they carry with them every day. And how do we make the best of that rise to the top? How do we burn off that organizational fog and have these assets that are sometimes hidden and not accessible in our firms available to everyone around the world to better serve our clients? So that was another opportunity. And then we also looked at our culture. And culture, if you simply think, is the way things get done around here, culture at Marsh, one thing that's kind of innately in our bones practically is the fact that we're collaborative. In my career, I've worked at many companies as a consultant and as an employee. I've never seen a place that's more collaborative. So if we can take social technologies and apply that to our already collaborative culture, we kind of have a muscle memory for, we can absolutely accelerate that collaboration and that partnership around the world. So we really wanted to take advantage of that. We also wanted to do something game-changing, something bold. Our aspiration as a firm is to be an elite firm. And we really thought of under the banner of making Marsh a great place to work for outstanding people, not an average place, but a great place. We wanted to do something cutting edge and something innovative and something progressive. And that's all of how Marsh U started, under the banner of making Marsh a great place to work for outstanding people. From an innovation perspective, how we actually built Marsh U was pretty different from a typical corporate IT project. In fact, rather than design our requirements and take a year or two to build a very large system and take a kind of a high-risk bet, we actually took it and de-risked the project. And as a risk management firm, that's probably not a surprise that we try to reduce risk. And we built Marsh University literally kind of one classroom at a time through an agile development methodology. So it allowed, just like a lot of successful startup tech companies, to take something and test it very quickly, get feedback, and iterate to success. And from a change management perspective, rather than dropping a hardware store of a bunch of tools on our colleagues, we said let's start with one set of functionality or one piece of functionality for colleagues to use, see how that goes, make it better, make it more usable, make it more useful, because that change management and that adoption cycle takes quite a while. In particular, you're really talking about behavioral change, which is one of the most studied phenomenons in the world is how do you actually get human beings to change their behavior. And when you involve technology and huge behavioral change, you have to think about things very differently. So what we did is rather than a big bang system implementation, we really focused on much smaller pieces of functionality to roll out. And as a result, I think it let us really learn along the way. And in fact, things that guesses we might have made at the beginning would have been wrong. And so we found out 6 months later we might have gone right when we thought we were going to go left. And based on the feedback and the needs of the business and where we were, some things went faster and better than we expected, and some things went slower. But that process of taking into bite-sized chunks and really not planning 3 years out, but really 6 months out, rather with high-level plans that may or may not come true, really kind of 6 months detailed tactical plans with super measurable results, and then another 6-month plan that we actually used and executed against. That's how we were innovative in our approach to building Marsh U. Insight. What do we learn with Marsh U as a way of having an inspiration to create it and innovation and how we did it? Well, one of the things we learned is if you build it, they won't come. Just because you have technology and you launch a new site or service or platform doesn't mean anyone's going to use it. In fact, unless they know about it and see value for them as individuals and see it solve a real personal problem or business problem for them. In fact, there's kind of a saying I use, find an itch to scratch, and you've got to make sure that there is that itch. What is the issue? What are you actually solving? What issue are you actually addressing? So we found that was a big thing. Treating colleagues like clients was also a big aha for us. And so, oftentimes a lot of companies, B2B and B2C companies, really know how to satisfy clients or customers, can really wow them, and in fact, probably be out of business if they didn't. But for some reason, oftentimes we really don't treat our colleagues like we treat our clients. And we said, well, what if we did? Marsh has got a reputation for some of the best client service in the world. We really treat our clients really well. But what if we provided the same competency and the same capability to our own colleagues? Made them happy, checked in with them, had personal relationships, had consistent follow-up and a high-touch service model. So that was another thing really we thought about is, what is that high-touch service? And that was, again, in treating those colleagues like clients. Then another thing that we looked at as we rolled out MU was, how do we actually turn on the folks that are kind of our early adopters? So people that became ambassadors and community managers. There are certain people that kind of just were kind of a hands-up sort of like, I'm here, I'd like to do it, I'd like to participate more. So we actually gave them a role, we gave them a title, we gave them resources, and we gave them visibility and gave them respect and a challenge, and that was a big part. And I think, another thing we learned, which we'll talk about later, is also keep score. A game is very interesting without a scoreboard. And if you make this more of a game and you take advantage of game theory and kind of behavioral economics about getting people to compete, it's much, much, much more interesting when you keep score and make that transparent and disaggregate it. However your business is structured, line of business, geographically, by product, etc. Create your social metrics the same exact way and see how people are doing and how they can compete against each other. So what's the impact of Marsh U? How's it really done? Well, over 70% of our colleague base has actually opted into Marsh U. It's been completely voluntary. In fact, we've been really adamant that we want it to be something that people opt into and choose. In our colleague engagement survey, we actually measure colleague perception of value from Marsh U. It does differ around the world, and it is interesting to see places like our growth markets, like Asia and Latin America, actually have disproportionately high perceived value for Marsh U as a tool as a part of their colleague experience. We have over 500,000 site visits. We've generated almost 3,000 blogs, and like I said, 70% of our colleagues have opted in with robust profiles. We're seeing traffic increase. We've actually used our platform Marsh U to share internal strategy meetings, as well as our external RIMS conference, which is the biggest marketing event we put on all year. We actually finally let the tens of thousands of colleagues that don't get to go get a peek at what our clients experience and what a couple hundred colleagues that do go get to see out of that. So that was what we did with RIMS. And in fact, we were featured in Chief Financial Officer magazine, as well as we won Innovation Week's Information 500 Award, awarded to the most creative uses of business technology. So we're seeing obviously the internal perceived value, internal usage, and external recognition, plus a whole host of conferences and other media that we've been featured in. In fact, we were just quoted this month in Sherham's HR magazine about social media and social learning to manage knowledge in the new millennium. So overall, I think we've seen really encouraging results. I think it's greatly exceeded not only the expectations of the Marsh U team, but our executive management. And it's actually looked at as one of the differentiators of the colleague experience here and a key part in driving our sales force effectiveness and growth in the future.